Welcome back to Real Talk, the show where we sit down with real investors doing real deals and uncover what's happening in today's market. So today I'm joined by Dylan, the founder and operator of Lions Head RE, a fast-moving real estate company doing deals across Georgia, Tennessee, and Carolina. So its team's focus, wholesaling, innovations, and private lending. Three powerful lanes that's helping them thrive even when the market feels uncertain. So Dylan, welcome to the show, man. For those who don't know yet, can you share a little bit more about your background and what's your main focus right now?
Yeah, so as far as background, man, started in wholesaling about I think it's 2022, towards the last end of 2022, and been wholesaling ever since then. I started doing it profitably for 3 years now, so a couple months in which we were just hanging around there, not making money, but that's how it goes, right? You go through rough patches. So we're mainly focused on wholesaling. So wholesaling in general, single family homes. We don't mess with anything else unless it's like a killer deal that we know we can just discipline one call. Um, and that's it. That's what we do. That's what our bread and butter. We are focused on um, anything. We focused on metro area, so Atlanta, Charlotte, Raleigh, Nashville, Knoxville, all those areas, and then we also focus everything around it in an hour and a half radius.
Mm,
Of course, in specific areas, depends on the population and stuff like that. But
nice. So obviously, like everybody who's in the wholesaling business, they have their own entry point, right? Like some people plan on getting into it, others they just stumble into the same business. So for you, what's your story? Like how exactly did you get into the same business?
so, well, I was working a 9 to 5 job for since I got out of high school, and I worked for Caterpillar, I worked for McLean, so these are all big companies. But I was doing 12 to 16 hours a day in McLean, normal schedule in Caterpillar, um, and I got tired. I really got tired of the whole 9 to 5 thing, and I was looking for ways to you know I guess to do your own thing. Looked it up in Google. The first thing to pop up was like, oh, day trader, become a day trader.
Yeah.
So I did that. I did that for like 3 months. I did turn profitable, but I wasn't good enough to like live off of it. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then I was like, okay, this is just not my thing. And I don't feel fulfilled, doing day trading. It doesn't fill me. It doesn't feel like it's correct. So look for my next thing. Started a pressure washing business. I thought that was really cool. Then I started on July. 2 months later, you're already into winter. You have no business. Um, I'm doing all this while I'm working at Caterpillar too.
Mhm.
So as all this is happening, I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I was not making money in Caterpillar. I was not making money because all the money that I grabbed from Caterpillar, I was putting it into the
The
pressure washing
business.
business. So not making a penny in neither of the business. Right. So I took the decision. I quit that job and I'm gonna go work 16 hours in McLean to get me enough cushion to get me some education. Right. I thought maybe going to college or something like that. Um, 6 months into working in McLean, 16 hours, sometimes 24-hour shifts, mind you, like crazy stuff. I get tired to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna save up as much money. I saved up like 5 grand. I remember I looked for things to do and wholesaling kind of popped up. I saw an ad from Brand Daniels, the
Mhm.
TTP, talk to people guy. That's where it started, right? The idea. I didn't took action right away, but it was the idea. It just planted the seed in my head, which is powerful. Then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay here for a couple more months. As I was doing that, I went out and bought a new truck, brand new truck, a $60,000 truck. It was like $1,000 a month. And I'll say a month later, month and a half later, I got my calling. Like I was like, okay, you know what? This is it. Like, you have to do this thing. So I literally quit the job with like 5 grand in the bank, and with a brand new truck, and it just went straight to wholesaling, knowing nothing. I just, you know, for lack of better words, fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. So I started doing research how to do it. I quit my job before I started doing research on how to do wholesaling, by the way. So don't do that. Um, I went ahead and just started for hours, um, hoping to get, a deal out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Um, and then I saw the ad of Brand Daniel again, and that time I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pay somebody to teach me what to do. So that was 2 months into my wholesaling journey. Got in there and got a deal done. I
Nice.
literally got a deal done.
Nice.
I it was like a matter of like weeks, probably.
Oh, wow.
Start doing the research, practicing role playing, and that's what I did.
So,
And
like,
then they
one,
just preach. They really preach a lot of talk to people there,
yeah,
and that's what I did. I just went out and talked to a lot of people, build on my skills, and got contracts under my belt. Nine
nice.
months later, into my 9 months into my wholesaling journey. So that's
Wow.
when I
So,
first turned profit.
got it. So it's like when you started wholesaling, obviously, but then again, when you went full time into wholesaling, right, you were able to see some traction in a couple of weeks. But when you were doing part time, it took you a lot of time to see it, right? So when you say the 9 months, it's like you combine everything together, right? Obviously, when you first started your journey, you were a little bit part time, right?
No, no, I literally dropped off my job. So I was working a full-time job, and when I first found out wholesaling, and months later, like a month later, I decided, you know
Hmm.
what, I'm gonna go full-time into this. And I quit. I literally quit without making my first call. I quit
Okay.
my job and I'm like, I'm gonna make this work. I'm gonna make this work. It's gonna take me 3 months to get a deal.
Hmm.
That's what I said to myself, right? So I saved enough to get 3 months, but to get by 3 months. And 9 months later, that's when I got my first deal done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I didn't make a penny for 9 months. I had $1,000 and the truck payment, and that's what I did, man. I just jumped. I literally jumped, took a leap of faith.
Amazing. Amazing. So, I mean, obviously, it worked. It paid off because here you are.
Yeah. It's
So
still,
nice. Can you take us back to the very first deal you ever did? Like, what was your experience like?
what was it like? I tell you, I'm gonna give you an example, and then I'm gonna give you how I would call it. Um, I call this lady who was possibly looking to sell the house. She was possibly looking to sell the house. That's the words that she used. Possibly looking to sell her house. Maybe. It's a duplex, mind you. Hot here in Athens. So I called her. We went through, I asked her the 4 questions. I literally asked her 4 questions. Why are you selling? How soon are you looking to sell? What's the condition of the house? And
Timeline,
no, it was timeline, motivation, price. Um, what is the other one?
condition,
No, I went through condition. It was motivation, price, timeline. There's another one. Uh,
motivation, price, condition, timeline.
it's four, right? I know it's 4 pillars. I know
Four.
people call it 4 pillars.
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh,
I don't. I don't do the 4 pillars anymore. So that's why it's rusty. It's in the past now. But I asked her 4 questions, and she gave me the whole spiel. So
yeah.
it was cool. It was cool. It was my first sales call, and I went through it all with her. And at the end, she was like, "You know what? I am not gonna sell to you because you don't have any reviews. Okay, you're gonna take this contract and you're gonna sell it to somebody else, and you're not even. It doesn't look like you had even done this before. Mind you, I hadn't. So that's that was completely valid for her to say that. So that happened, and I felt really frustrated that I couldn't do anything about that. You know.
Yeah.
Then she ghosted me. 3 months later, I remember I called her. I called her out of the blue. I was going through my old, like, all the people that had said yes, and I called her, and she was crying when she picked up the phone. She was like, "Oh my god, you're finally calling me back." Like, I was meaning, like, I've been looking for your number. I lost your number. I lost your number. That was my first deal, dude. I lost your number. My husband is dying of cancer. I can't do anything about this, and I need this property sold. And it was a roller coaster of emotions for me and for her in that call. So at first, she was asking like $130,000,
Hmm.
and then after that, like 3 months later, she was like, "I'll take 105." Right?
Yeah.
Um, and she got cold feet again for like a day or so. She did not answer. Then she called me back. She had my number. She called me back. Let's do this thing. Let's do it. So I went ahead, go walk the property myself. Go walk the property. I don't do this anymore. Walk the property, inspected. I don't even know what I was doing, to be honest with you. Um, it looked good. I was taking some pictures. I got all that back, and I start calling for buyers. So I got a friend that was a realtor at the time that is also my business partner right now. And I called him and I was like, dude, I need you to help me to find a buyer. I know you're a realtor, you probably know some investors. Okay. No, he didn't know anybody at that time, but he knew somebody that knew people.
Right.
Okay. So called him, he called her, and then soon enough, like 3 days later, we had somebody interested in the duplex. We
Nice.
had it under contract for 105,000, and we sold it for
Yep.
122. And the seller, I remember the time I went to the seller, to the closing attorney, I'm sorry, and the seller was there. She picked up her check. She gave me a big hug, and she was like, "Thank you for everything you've done. Thanks to you calling me back, now I have the funds to take care of my husband and not have to worry about this thing." Now, mind you, I really grew a bond with this woman, so I actually called her earlier this year. Her husband had sadly passed away earlier this year, but she she's doing better, right? She at least, we were able to get her through all that,
Hmm.
which was amazing for me. So that was my first deal. It was a roller coaster of emotions. We thought we were going to lose it at some point. We lost the lead, and then we called her back. It was really a roller coaster, man.
Amazing. So it's not just about the, like, you're basically changing somebody's life at the end of
You
the
are, yeah, you are. That's what you get paid for in this industry, I would say.
day. So let me take a step back. Obviously, when you mentioned, what you took 9 months into wholesaling in order to get your first deal, right? So was there ever a point where you felt like, what, maybe this might not be my thing? Because 9 months, obviously, that's like a lot of time. A lot of
It
people would feel like quitting in between.
it was a every single day thing. I would wake up and I would be like, "Gosh, I don't think this thing is for me." I just don't think it is for me. That was like 60% of my day. But then there was a 40% where in my head I was like, "Okay, whether it's for me or is not,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna push through it, and I'm gonna get a deal done. Even if after that deal I just quit real estate, I'm gonna make sure that I accomplish it for myself, right? I'm gonna do it for myself. I'm gonna get one deal done." And that's what I did, and I stuck with it. That was my whole thought process. I That friend of mine, he was actually calling with me after we closed that first deal, and it took him I think probably longer than me to get a deal, and he was just always wondering, how the hell do you do this thing? How do you stay positive whenever like everything is just negative? Because everything was negative, dude. There were months in which I was behind in my car. I had no money. I was not generating a single penny. I was stubborn to even go get a job because I was like, no, I'm gonna make this work. And it's like whenever you ask God for something so much and you relentlessly push towards it, that He is like, you know what, you are really stubborn. I'm gonna give it to you. Here you go.
It's
You
the
know,
of
It-
perseverance.
yeah, yeah. That's what it felt like every single day.
Amazing. Amazing. But I'm glad that everything worked out. And fast forward today, you're running operations across multiple states. And just paint the picture for us. Like, obviously, when the sun comes up, your phone starts buzzing. What does your typical day in your business looks like right now?
Right now, so we still run a small operation. Um, we have two people, two cold callers, and everything else we just run. All the other lead channels is inbound. Um, Dude, just mornings are just follow ups. So we start the morning with a good team, what we call a morning huddle. So we get around with our team, we hop on a call, we set the goals for the day, we set the expectations for everybody, and then we kick it off with why are we there today and what we are grateful for. That's how we kick off our morning with our team, and then everybody just goes straight into. If you have appointments, you go into appointments. If you have, we don't have appointments that early usually. But if you do, you go straight into appointments. If not, you're gonna go do your follow ups first. All the people that matter that we have talked to in the past that have said, "Hey, today call me because I'm taking a decision." We're gonna follow up those. 50% of the deals come from follow ups. The other 50% come from just instant one call action, which is weird. Um, and then you have the rest of the day just running appointments.
Mhm.
By running appointments, I mean these are on phone appointments. We don't unless it's in our backyard. We don't go and do in person appointments anymore. We're running Tennessee. We're running North Carolina. We're running here in Georgia, and making an hour drive, an hour 45-minute drive. It's just not. It's counterproductive.
Yeah.
As well as expensive. You know. So we just run appointments through the phone. We have sales calls. Towards the end of the day, we have trainings for our teammates, and then we have throughout the day we also have coaching calls from our own coach, um, in our business.
So when you say like, what, generating appointments, right? So when you generate appointments across multiple states, like, do you have your own marketing channels or do you have like PPC, PPL? Like, how does that work?
So yeah, as far as we're running all inbound right now and cold calling, but you know mostly inbound. Cold calling is, I don't want to say slow. It's the most reliable source of like deals we've got since we started doing this. So I cannot bash on it. But the actionability on leads that fill out a form in a website that are inbound, dude, it's unmatchable.
Mhm.
So what we do is PPL, property leads, lead solo is what we use, and PPC. We have tried PPC. We just didn't have a good enough return on it for it to make sense. We lost money in PPC for multiple months in a row, so it just didn't make sense.
So obviously, like, you have been in this business for quite some time, right? So, and obviously, and on top of that, you understand this wholesaling business to such a good extent. What's one bottleneck you recently solved, and what did fixing it change for your business?
I think you're always gonna find bottlenecks. Bottlenecks are like they're just gonna be a day to day thing, not a day to day, but like you're gonna find them once you're reviewing your numbers. This is why we review numbers weekly. Um, one of the struggles that we did is our qualification. So we were not getting in contact. We were only getting in contact with 50% of the leads that came in, whether it was inbound or cold calling.
Mhm.
50% of them were actually picking up the phone, and we were having a qualification call with them. Um, so we had to fix that to then fix the rest of the conversions. Um, Out of those, we had to get it up to 75%. Right. So what we did is we implemented speed to lead.
Mhm.
Right. So you have to call a lead less than 5 minutes, less than 3 minutes. As soon as the lead hits its CRM, call it. It's top priority. Okay, unless you're in an appointment, which in that case somebody else can take it from you.
Yeah.
But it's just how fast we can get to a lead. That's what fixed that bottleneck for us. Now there's many things that can happen. For example, once you fix that, there might be another problem down the line. For example, if you're running appointments, an appointment model, right? You might run that your appointment are not qualified, or whoever's setting your appointments. If you have an appointment model, like I said, in setters, um, you might not be getting good quality of appointments. So that's another bottleneck that you could fix, um, and stuff like that. But that's the most recent one we have fixed. It's just the qualified lead. Um, and which I don't know if that makes sense, but a qualified lead is somebody that you actually talk to, you verify that they have a house and that they're looking to sell it,
Yeah.
and that they're actually the owners too. You know,
The hardest lead, in short.
what is it?
It's one of the hottest leads, right? Like that person.
No, no, it's not a hot lead. It's just so a lead is whenever somebody just submits their information in our website or in our PPL anywhere,
Mhm.
just hits our CRM. That's just a lead. A qualified lead means that we have had a conversation with that person and we have confirmed that they're selling a property. Okay. If they are selling a property and they're the owners of it, then we have a qualified lead. Okay. Now,
Okay.
of course, there's another other metrics that we check. For example, if there's enough equity, if it's an area that we actually buy, actionability, and that's it. That's pretty much it. Is equity, motivation, timeline, actionability, and ownership. We call it EMODA.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than the five pillars, than the four pillars. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's like yeah. I never thought of it actually that way. So let's talk about something which not everybody in the audience actually understands about, which is private money lending. So
Yeah.
obviously we talked a lot about wholesaling and investing, but how exactly did you get into the private money side of the business?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I got started through a connection. I had a deal recently which was gonna fall apart because the buyer's the buyer's lender backed out on him 2 days before closing, and I had to actively look for a lender so this guy didn't lose the deal and we didn't stop deal from closing. It was a pretty important deal for us. The seller's wife had cancer, a tumor in the brain, so definitely important for him to get his money and sell quickly. So it's not all about the money, guys. It's also about what you're doing now. I called to somebody in my network, and they quickly qualified the buyer. They gave him a loan. They gave him a package, and within 5 days, 5 day later, 5 days later from that call, we were closing on the property. So that next week, yeah,
Nice.
it was amazing. So that's how we closed that deal, and then from that stemmed the fact that he was like, "Hey, man, I know this might be helpful for your business, depending where you're at. Um, we will lend you the money to close on your own deals. We will lend your buyers the money to close on your deals. Um, and overall, if you have clients, whether it's buyers or sellers, um, we could just lend to everybody."
Mm.
So what I did, we talked over a partnership, and pretty much. I'm using. I mean, with their help, right? I'm able to provide this product. I'm able to bring the property as a product, and I'm able to bring them the funds to close on the property and do the repairs. But yeah, so we were going to be able to bring the house and the lending that you needed in order to close on the property and do the rehab on it, right? So we will bring a full service pretty much to whoever we're working with. Aside from that, I'm actively looking for wholesalers. I'm actively looking for um, buyers that are looking to maybe start the first fix and flip, DSCR loans, bridge loans, long term. I mean, you call it, we probably have a product for it. Okay, so
Nice.
that's how I get started on it, and in my experience. Again, I'm not an expert. Like I said, I'm just starting, so my experience on it is pretty limited. But um, I'm always looking to extend a hand and create opportunities for everybody else too.
Got it, man. So, do you look for any particular aspects before like deciding to land on deal?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So there is a specific criteria that we land on. So depends on what program you're looking to do. Um, there is a fix and flip, 75% of the ARB.
Yeah.
So if it has to fit the rehab and the purchase price and the 75% of the ARB in order for it to make sense, or you have to bring the rest out of pocket, but there's flexibility there. DSCR loans and long-term loans, I think would go up to, I think it's 80%, sometimes, um, 90%. And I think right now we're doing nationwide 100% depending on the deal. Um, which is pretty good. So you don't have to come out of pocket. There is also another program for wholesalers, specifically for wholesalers, that is amazing. Is if the deal is under 60% ARB, right? You can do what we call a takedown method, right? And they will fund you to buy the deal. They will post it on the market. You will be in charge of posting the deal on the market for 4 months. And if you sell it, right? If you set a deal for on the market for 4 months, um, you don't have to pay anything upfront. So the cost into that type of financing or lending is zero upfront, and
Mhm.
all the costs related to it will be taken out of the HUD once the deal closes with your end buyer. So it's pretty neat whenever you're looking to maybe increase those profit margins a little bit. Um, on a deal per deal basis, you know?
Nice. It seems like you have a lot of things going on. So the main question is like, where do you see? So does the same money lending business comes under the same business name, Lionside RE, or do you have like a totally different?
No, no. So, this I do it through Romero Capital Corp. They're a company. They're Harmony Lending based out of North Carolina. And what I'm doing is brokeraging the money,
Mhm.
right, to make sure that I can help everybody out there that needs maybe a little connection.
Got it. And I think the final question is, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Where do I see myself 5 years from now? I think I'll be running a multi-million-dollar wholesaling um, machine. I probably see myself doing a lot of commercial deals. That thing interests me a lot, but I'm not there yet to start taking down commercials. So I'm thinking about taking a lot of commercials down. I'll probably be doing a lot of those in 5 years. And enjoying life, man. I think my business is a reflection of who I am, and I don't want to work to live. I want to live to work, right? Um, and what I mean by that, I don't know if that might be a little confusing, but I want to be able to enjoy my business, enjoy what I do, even if it doesn't lead me into like tens of millions of dollars. As long as I'm happy in what I'm doing and I'm able to provide for my family, provide for myself a future that I'm proud of. That's all I care. It's more of a lifestyle business in my case. than it is a crazy machine. You know, there's people out there doing 20 million, $30 million a year
Yeah.
wholesaling. Um, that could be cool, but that'll be a lot of stress. And if I'm dealing with a lot of stress now, I can only wonder what they feel, once they get up there. It's probably a lot more stressful. So, you know, that's where I see myself.
Amazing. So I think that's, to be honest, pretty amazing. And one thing about real estate businesses is that it's a relationship driven game, right? So it's all about who you know and who you can help. So
Yeah,
if someone's listening to this and wants to connect with you, bring your deal and maybe learn more about the lending side of the business, what would be
sure.
the best way to reach you?
Yeah, so you guys can reach me in Instagram at dyrod.07. That's my Instagram. And then you can give me a call or shoot me a message, preferably. I don't answer calls unless I know the number or know who's calling. Is going to be 706-296-3656. So again, 706-296-3656. I'm sorry, that's just
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll make sure that I put it in the chat and I'll also put it on the video so that every
yeah. And then email Dylan at lionsheadre. That's co. It's not .com, .co. Just make sure.
yeah.
But yeah, man, that's how people can reach me, and I'll be happy to. If you need lending, if you need help, if you need buyers, we have a crazy good list of buyers, especially here in Georgia and Tennessee. Killer buyers, by the way. And yeah, man, that's it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for this, Dylan. So I think that's it for this week's Real Talk. Another real conversation with a real operator who's out there doing the work. Dylan, thank you so much for joining us once again for this call and everybody who's listening to this talk as well. So tune in next week. We'll be back with another episode with another operator, and we're going to be diving into the business operations in the real estate market. So that's it for today, folks. Thank you, and see you next week.